Hi and welcome to our channel.
Hi, welcome.
Today we're going to do some 5-minute makes. So this week we thought we'd make a podcast.
Oh, wonderful. How do we do that?
Well, obviously, the thing we always go for first, the glue gun.
Oh, the glue gun works for everything.
Absolutely.
Nothing you can't make without with a glue gun.
Absolutely. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some skits, we're going to iron those so they all stick together, and then we're just going to glue them to this phone case.
Oh,
Look how delightful that is.
Oh, wonderful.
Right, now the next thing we need to add, just a few things that we've played, watched and listened to.
Oh, we just sprinkle them on and use the hot glue to make them stick.
Absolutely, and get some real texture in there with the hot glue. Also, you can make some amazing earrings with the leftovers.
Oh.
And then, how about this? We'll add some queer trans ladies.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
Love the multiple coloured hair on those. And then we'll just get all those in there with a bit more hot glue.
Oh, make sure you don't burn the queer trans ladies.
Definitely don't burn them, but, you know, unless they're into that.
Ooh.
I mean, I'm not one to kink shame. Anyway, there it is. Look at that. Wonderful. Oh, some of the bits are dropping off already, but that's probably fine. This has been 5-Minute Makes, and we've made a podcast.
Yay!
Greetings, strangers, queer and pleasant. I'm not Laura Kate Dale.
And I'm not Jane Aerith Magnet, and welcome to another episode of Queer and Pleasant Strangers. It's a podcast where two queer trans ladies have a chat about the media we have consumed in our weeks and do silly voices and skits and just have a bit of a catch-up and amuse ourselves a bit.
Nice.
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm sleepy.
It's okay, soon we're taking some time off. Soon we're gonna have some...
Sounds fake.
Yeah, I know, like, the two of us taking time off at the same time? What even is that?
Taking time off full stop.
I don't remember the last time I took time off. Probably the same weekend we booked off last year. It's probably then.
Not only is it time that we've booked off, it's time we've booked off that we're not planning to just spend working on something different from our usual work.
Exactly. So last year we had a lovely, 4 or 5 days away in a nice sunny field. And we can't go enjoy that nice sunny field this year, but... Yeah, at the time.
Also, given the temperatures, I think we would roast to death sleeping in a van.
I think having a bed and a fan is going to be very appreciated compared to our festival sleeping plans.
And access to a cold bath.
Oh gosh, yeah, just have a cold shower in the middle of the day.
Oh.
So we've decided to just the thing we were going to do, we're just going to do it at home, which also means the ability to sleep in and not have to, or to just have some restful time.
Much shorter queues for the toilet.
Oh, that's going to be lovely. And
we'll flush the toilet.
Considerably less pee on the floor, hopefully.
Yeah. I won't, I'll have less worries about trying to pee in a onesie.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be great.
It is.
So... This week, we have consumed media in the way that we do. We consume media.
Nom 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 nom.
Om nom nom.
Media. Om nom nom.
One of the categories of media is things we played.
It is one of the categories of things that we played.
What you played this week?
We played a new Tiny Epic game.
We did. We played Tiny Epic Dinosaurs.
Open the door, get on the floor. Tiny Epic Dinosaur.
Heck, yeah, it's a little tiny board game in a tiny box.
It's a little game box.
With all sorts of itty-bitty tiny little wooden dinosaurs.
75 tiny wooden dinosaurs.
They're adorable and they're tiny.
They are.
The people who make Tiny Epic, what's the company's name?
Gameling Games.
Gameling Games. They make really good tiny box games.
Mm-hmm.
They make stuff that very easy to just chuck in a bag, it's not very heavy.
Yep.
And, all of them have been so different.
And also, they unfold a lot.
Yes, they do.
It is a small box, but, Tiny Epic Dinosaurs can easily take up a large percentage of a table.
They know how to make use of a small amount of space to do a lot with.
They tend to be, modular boards based on, oversized cards.
Yeah.
They might have different things on the front and back. For example, Tiny Epic Dinosaurs is a worker placement game.
Yeah.
And depending on how many players you have, you might flip over the board and it will give you, an extended version of things. So that there's more spaces for, 4-player games and stuff.
The general idea is you have a little grid-based farm on a piece of card in front of you, and you gotta fill it up with dinosaurs. You gotta send your workers to various places to collect, resources to feed the dinosaurs, fences to fence in the dinosaurs, and then eventually, if you get enough of the correct types of dinosaurs, you can cash them in for points.
Basically, you're fulfilling contracts. People are going, I want 2 Stegosauruses and a Brachiosaurus.
Yeah, there's a couple of, like, specific rules to this game, like, you cannot have 2 types of dinosaur within the same enclosure, so you've got to make sure they're walled off. There are consequences if you don't have enough food to feed all of them.
Yep. Some of them will escape, some of them will eat the herbivores.
Yeah, exactly. It's an interesting little worker placement game, isn't it?
It's really interesting, and, like, I think the only other worker placement game we've got is
Lords of Waterdeep. Yeah,
and it manages to be very, very different.
It's suitably different. There's a lot more things you have to be thinking about at once with this, I think.
Yeah, it doesn't help that it's played in like 7 phases per round and 6 rounds total.
Yeah,
there's a lot of strategy that needs to go in there.
So things that make this different from something like, say, Lords of Waterdeep. The obvious thing up front is there is a limit to how many resources you can collect.
Yes.
And you have to keep that in mind, because there's things like, you've got a dice that you can roll when you're trying to get a new dinosaur, and, it might have negative impacts on it, but it might also give you an extra of that dinosaur, which
could be a bad thing.
That could be great, or that could be a bad thing when suddenly it's like, oh no, I have too many dinosaurs, I can't feed them, oh no. Equally, if you put 2 dinosaurs in an enclosure together, they will breed. Like, it's very easy to suddenly have no space for things. There's a few interesting things about this game for sure. One thing that I don't necessarily think is great about it, and it's my only like real complaint I keep thinking about, is there is a real tangible benefit to going first, because every player's enclosure has 3 empty spaces that need to be fenced off before you can have any dinosaurs, or they're just going to run away. And whoever goes first has an open shot at, I can send a single worker. Everyone's got 1 worker each round that is worth double points, that they can go send, like, if you're going first, put your double person on the double fence space. I got 4 fences, that'll sort me out.
It's a good start.
I think it is the correct first move, and it sucks that there is if you go first, there is a correct first move.
I guess, yeah.
Like,
I would imagine that you will find there has to be different strategies around that, because you can play it in 3 and 4 player, and there's only one of those.
That's what I was thinking about, is that, like, that's gonna suck if you, because here's the thing, in 2 player, you could sort of get around it, because and we've not really talked about this. There is a mechanic for if someone's already been to a space and you want to go there and they've already taken the spot, you can go there as well, but you have to pay 1 extra worker. So you're basically giving up 1 turn in the round in order to go for something that's already been got. So in 2 player, going second, like, okay, we both want to go on that double space to get all the fence we need on the opening move. I'll have to just use up an extra worker. It basically means I'm 1 worker down for going second.
You could do that, or I mean, you could start stockpiling various types of food, because at the very early game, you're not getting much in the way of crates. You're not getting much in the way of meat.
Yeah,
all you're really getting a lot of is plant food.
Possibly, but I think not having the option to collect dinosaurs if you want to on the opening turn does put you at a disadvantage. I think
you could still take a dinosaur.
You could
put it in that automatically sealed off area.
That 1 automatically sealed square, I suppose.
And the fact that you, during the placement phase where you get to put down your barriers and place your dinosaurs, the fact that you can't move your barriers, but you can move your dinosaurs during that phase, means that it's not such a big problem. But what you might want to do is go, I'm going to take the first player token so that I'm going first next round, then I can go for that.
Yeah.
I'll grab myself a dinosaur. Like, there are ways around that.
It's not necessarily game-breaking by any means. Like, I don't want this to be seen as, like, the game is broken, don't play it. It's a great game.
Yeah.
It's just, every time, like, we started playing once, and then we were like, we understand the rules properly now, and started again.
You know how it is.
Yeah.
You get, like, 3 rounds in, it's like, I get it.
Yeah.
I fucked this up.
Both times you went first, and you went for that space first, and both times I was like, I feel like I have significantly lost out by not going first on round 1. And that's a weird feeling to have with a board game. I feel like I should acknowledge that feeling. Yeah. But I had a great time with this, actually. It was wonderful.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Yeah.
That's another tiny epic. Last one we played was Mechs, which I think we've talked about recently.
Yeah, because
the next one's Pirates.
Oh, heck. Yeah, if you're looking for a worker placement game, there's a lot going on in this one. And, like,
Lots of variety.
Yeah, particularly, I think, combining worker placement with, like, organizational management on your, like, little tiny Jurassic Park is a really nice combo.
Yeah.
It gives you significant amounts of things to be doing, rather than just, I have cubes, and no one knows how many of them I need for anything, I'm just collecting cubes over here. It feels more involved.
Yeah, there is a lot to think about at all stages of this game.
Oh, I forgot to talk about, like, the most interesting thing about this worker placement game.
Research?
The private versus public contract.
Yes.
Yeah. So you've got public contracts, which are like, hey, everyone can see this row of missions, complete it, go by the mission, complete it, whatever. You've each got a private one as well that is just for you, and you've got it secretly. But you can't complete it unless you complete it at the same time as a public one. Which means that in those early few rounds of the game, you're, like, incentivized to really fill your park up, to try and get this double, to get that, like, bunch of points that's sat on the table, potentially.
Yeah, I mean, there are ways around it, as long as you're sort of being careful with what you're getting.
Oh, yeah.
But, it's very doable.
Yeah, I found that a very interesting mechanic of, like, the sort of balancing act of how close to bursting do I get my park to try and get both of these challenges done at once, to get both the sets of points.
Yeah, I think to complete mine, I ended up... so you've got 11 slots total on your board.
Yeah.
And you need 7 to fulfill both contracts.
Yeah.
Which means having all of the right stuff. And then you've got the fact that there's research, which can lead to unique types of dinosaur.
Yeah, there's a lot in this game. It's very
so much going
Tiny
on.
Epic. The Tiny Epic games are generally all pretty good. They've all been of a consistent quality.
I know. I think we've played almost all of them now. We haven't played Galaxy and we haven't played Western.
Yeah.
But we've got friends who've got Tiny Epic Quest, Tiny Epic Defenders. We've got Tiny Epic Zombies, Tiny Epic Mechs, Tiny Epic Pirates is coming, and Tiny Epic Dinosaurs now.
I think we've enjoyed every one we've played.
Yeah.
I have faith in this company to make good, easy to pack away games.
Well, that's the other thing. With board games, it is... The longer you are into board games, the harder it gets to justify shelf space.
Yes.
Like, there have been times in the last 6 months where I've looked at our board game shelf and gone, given that there's a bunch of Kickstarters turning up, is there anything on here I might consider
I think
just
there's
chucking on
definitely
eBay?
some stuff we could chuck on that shelf.
King of Tokyo?
Yeah, we played that like twice and we're like, yeah.
I think the problem with that was the fact that you can have a player get knocked out, and then they've got nothing to do for like 15, 20 minutes.
I was never a fan of a game where you can just be sat around not able to play.
Yeah.
We've definitely got some stuff we could prune off the shelf, but it's always nice to have games that are small enough you could take them travelling with you easily. Just pop them in a bag.
Definitely.
Heck.
And what have you played?
I've been playing more Binding of Isaac because, of course, I have. I'm down that rabbit hole. So I've defeated every single boss in that game on normal mode now, and then I started on hard mode, and I've beaten like one of the bosses on hard mode, so I'm working through it. But more interesting, I started playing around with challenge mode, which I had ignored because I assumed it was just the daily seed, where it's like, here's today's randomized dungeon that everyone can do the same one.
But that also exists.
That also exists, but that's not what challenge mode is, which is what I thought that was. Challenge mode gives you a bunch of they'll give you a loadout, a very specific loadout that you start the run with, and you will have you probably don't have to get the whole way through the game. Like I did one today where you only had to get as far as beating Mom. You don't get treasure rooms on each floor, but you do still get upgrades and rewards each time you beat a boss, which are randomized. The bosses you encounter are randomized, the floor layouts are randomized, but it's mainly things like, what if we gave you homing lasers and very little health, and you had to get as far as beating Mom with your homing lasers, or you are a character that can explode at will and won't take any damage from exploding, but you won't heal either. And your whole point is to get close enough to people to blow yourself up to do damage to them and then back away before they can hurt you. I know that there are some that... A lot of them are themed around, like, different character archetypes. I know there's one that's basically be a Pokemon trainer. Like, there's a lot of just different thematic setups for your character. And they're really fun. It's a good way to jump into a already created archetype that has interesting synergies within itself, and to do a run themed around that.
And I suppose there's less feeling like you are starting from the very beginning because you've got those start
exactly, yeah. Like, you might not like the loadout you've been given at the start, but you're not starting with a vanilla character that does very slow bullets. It's like, I'm starting with something at the very least interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like there's like dozens of these challenges to do, and I've been warned that they get pretty ridiculous by the end.
Yay.
But I started digging into those, and I've been having fun with them.
Mm-hmm.
What about you? What have you been playing?
We played another boarded game.
We did.
We played some Legendary Encounters Alien.
Yeah, we've talked about that before.
We have.
It's that Alien card game where all the cards sort of move closer and closer to attacking you, and
yeah, so it's a deck builder with some sort of board gamey elements.
It's a co-op one.
Co-op, yeah. So you're all working together. There are advanced rules that maybe someday we will get into, like hidden agendas, and if somebody dies, they can be the alien.
Ooh.
Which makes everything worse for everyone else. But yeah, we decided to play... We initially played Alien Resurrection.
Yeah, which we had a lot of fun with.
Using the setup. It's one of the few that we've not played a lot. Because
we always
everyone
tend to...
wants... When you're starting a new game with new people, it tends to be like, which Alien films you want, and they will always pick Alien or Aliens.
Yeah, well that's the thing, is we tend to like start with those anyway, and it's rarer that we go like, and let's go to the later ones.
It also helps that, or doesn't help that, when you're playing with friends, you tend to go for the easier ones, and those are definitely the easier ones.
Yes.
But yeah, we played through Alien Resurrection, and then we decided to have a go at customising it, because it is a thing in the manual, like, you can customise this any way you want.
Yeah, because the whole point is it's like, hey, you need 3 objectives, and you need this many characters in the shop row that you can purchase from. But, like, otherwise, as long as you've got, like, an easy objective, a medium objective, a hard objective, and your shop of characters to purchase, set it up how you want.
Yeah.
So we had... What films did we have objectives from?
So we had the starting objective from Aliens, which is kill 3 colonists, which can be difficult.
Yeah.
Then we had the seal the vents, which is from Alien.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty difficult task to do if the one before it wasn't the original one.
Yes.
And then we did the Alien from Alien 3.
Oh, yeah,
which just has lives. It's only got 6 health, but...
you have to kill it again and again and again and again.
Which I imagine if you were playing... I think there's a marathon mode that you could do where you play all of the situations in order, which I imagine would take a while.
I imagine so.
Yeah.
But we had, and in terms of the characters we had in our shop row, it was just every version of Ripley.
All four Ripleys.
Yeah, we had decks made of Ripleys, which meant we got all the cool shit.
We did. We nearly got the power loader, and then he was just like, nah, I've got 27 damage I'm going to do right now.
I was like,
I mean, yeah, that'll do it.
I mean, when you've got that much damage on the table, it's like, I don't want to turn down the chance to do infinity damage.
Who knows when this will come again?
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah, it's our first time, I think, playing a custom game together, and it went really well.
I wouldn't mind trying more of that and seeing like what you can do with regards to like extending the amount you play.
Yeah, I'd definitely be up for that.
I'd be curious to see how that changes things.
Yeah.
Well, what about you? Have you played anything else?
I think that's everything I've played this week.
Well then, time
for this. Hello, and welcome to the Feel Less Alone News Network. We can't change reality, but we can at least make you feel a little less alone in lockdown.
That's right, fewer news stories about how the world is ignoring lockdown, but more stories about other people like you staying at home and being safe.
Because lockdown isn't as bad when you don't have to think about literally everyone else breaking it. That's the Feel Less Alone News Network.
Now, here are some cat videos. And now, a message of hope from 2021. Is this on?
The blue line is happening. I think we're good.
Hello, this is 2021.
A message from the future.
The future. Ooh. That's right. The sentient personification of 2021. Now listen, I've
got a meeting with Chuck Tingle in about an hour, but I just wanted to say we decided to get all of the bad things for the next few years just out of the way during 2020. And I realise that's been a lot for some people. Don't worry, next year, sunshine and rainbows. Also, lovely weather. Don't worry, you haven't missed out on all the good weather. There will still be good weather next year.
There will be future good weather and future good times, and we will get to them, and everything will be better.
Yes, and also, like, a whole new standard of cat videos coming next year, so you've all got that to look forward to.
I'm ready.
Brace yourselves, it's getting good.
Oh, yeah.
So,
What have you watched? What have I watched? We watched some things together.
we did.
We continued watching Star Trek. Let's get that out of the way. Our update on how TNG is going.
Some really good episodes in season 3 and 4.
Yeah. There was that one with the warp bubble.
Remember Me.
Remember Me. That was a real good episode.
So well acted.
Fantastically acted. I think it's always good when you have a mystery kind of episode that paces its mystery just so that, like, I worked out what was going on maybe 2 minutes before, like, it got revealed, which I think is perfect pacing for a mystery.
Yeah,
like,
that's pretty good.
just early enough that you go, oh, I feel really smart for this. I did it. Yeah.
Like, there is some amazing acting, some amazing lines. The fact that, like, you wouldn't have got that with Dr. Pulaski.
Oh, God.
Crusher was asking all the right questions.
Yeah, it was a really satisfying, like, getting to see Dr. Crusher be the focus of an episode was really nice.
Mm-hmm. I just love that whole bit right near the end when she's just like, what is the nature of the universe? And the computer's just like, bleh. Huh.
Yeah, it was really interesting to watch an episode that was so relatable in the sense of like, oh my god, this would be a horrendous situation to be in and to be trying to explain. Like, they really made it like, oh, this is terrifying as a concept.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
It's a really good episode.
TNG has got, like, I know I was a bit lukewarm on it those first couple of seasons, but it's gotten real good.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Like, those first series are not great.
TNG starts ropey.
It does, but it gets better.
It gets there. What about you? What you watched this week?
I watched a video called The Story of Mario Paint by the Gaming Historian.
That was the first video game I owned.
Aww.
The Super Nintendo, my little mouse.
Your little mouse.
Yeah.
It is a 45-minute documentary about why Mario Paint happened and like what came after it. And what people who were into it at the time, like what they did with it.
Yeah.
Because I owned it at one point. I think I'd picked it up because I saw it going really cheap in like an electronic boutique or something.
I mainly remember it as like the first experience I had with a tool for making music and for playing around with notation scales.
I mean, the fact that like somebody took that and ripped the idea and there is an online version of that which allows you for like additional, because I think you could only play 3 notes at once on the original.
Yeah.
This allows you to do like more stuff and record like much longer sessions because obviously you could only say what would fit on the cartridge.
Yep, which was not much back in the day.
Especially not with things like the animations. Like you can have a really small thing and you can have 9 frames of animation, or you can have a much bigger thing. But it will only have like a frame of animation. Yeah, it was a really cool documentary about the stuff, and I didn't know that the annoying dog sound came from there.
Yeah.
Damn you, Toby Fox, stealing from Nintendo. Brave. Very brave.
Very brave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a really good time. Did you know that they talked about, or they had tried to put Mario Paint on the disk drive?
No, but it doesn't surprise me.
Like a follow up, with like 3D models and stuff. I'm guessing this is the 64DD.
Yeah.
So like 3D models. Now you can texture that using something from this art package.
Oh,
how about if you got the third program and did like animation stuff with
that's
it?
That's wild.
Like it's just a shame that the 64DD just
didn't. It just didn't.
Well, from what the documentary says, like. The reason it didn't is because like you had to order it from the back of a magazine.
Yeah.
It was a ridiculous amount of money, and like there wasn't enough support.
Yeah.
And then 8 months later, they were like, nah,
Yeah.
Nintendo don't do CDs.
Except when we get to the GameCube, and then we'll do tiny CDs.
But we do them on our terms.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good 45 minutes spent watching Nintendo stuff
Heck.
and watching people be incredibly creative with very
Limited.
capacity.
Yeah.
Ben Rivers is in that documentary.
Yeah.
The person responsible for the video game Home. Do you know this one?
Yeah.
The horror narrative story that I think I've talked about on here before.
I think you have, yeah.
And like how like a lot of his animation ideas and things came from his time with Mario Paint. Cool.
Oh.
What about you? Have you watched anything else?
We watched some things together. We watched some new things.
We watched some new things.
We watched through Transformers War for Cybertron Siege.
Yeah.
Which is the first of like 3 mini-series about Transformers. 3 chapters happening on Netflix. They're like, 6 or so episodes?
Yeah, I think it was 6 or 8 episodes.
Yeah, so do you want to start us on this? Because you are the Transformers fan.
So it's set on Cybertron. The Decepticons have risen up against the Autobots. There is a civil war going on. Bumblebee is a horrible centrist for most of the first few episodes. Yeah, it's lovely to see. I love the Cybertronian like alt forms of stuff. I like to see the original versions or original series versions of like Starscream.
Yeah,
and Soundwave, because I love that Soundwave.
Yeah.
Soundwave's my favourite.
Gorgeously animated as well.
Beautifully animated, like the texturing.
The lighting and the shadows and the texturing of the metal are fantastic.
Yes. Yeah, like all the little scuff marks, all the texture of the metal as like, especially like Megatron's face.
Yeah.
Just like the way that moves in the light, it's like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
They've done a great job, and it's really cool to see like all those versions. I have always loved those weird ass versions.
Yeah.
And it's cool because I've got the Siege toy for Ultra Magnus. I've got the Optimus Prime and the Starscream from that series.
Yeah.
I've got that.
Yeah. Like it's basically plot-wise pretty simple. It is here is the Decepticons. They would like to be in charge of everything and to rule everything, and they're going to blame the war on the Autobots, who are trying to fight for freedom, but they're going to...
Freedom is the right of all sentient creatures.
Indeed, and then the Decepticons will go, but if you'd only just stop fighting, the war would be over, so really it's your fault that there's a war, and the Autobots are having to go, yeah, but I know that lots of us are dying, but we would like to be free, please.
There is also the whole slavery question. Which
yes.
I don't remember from the original series, and I've never read the comics, so I couldn't tell you about that. But there is obviously a whole undercurrent of, here's some world building. We're not going to directly tell you exactly what happened, but you get the impression that the Autobots lived in relative luxury, the Decepticons were basically a working class.
Yes.
And they just had an uprising.
Yeah, it definitely, I'm expecting in Chapter 2 or Chapter 3 there to be the thing of, hey, we're going to show you what the Autobots actually did and give you some sense of, this is why the Decepticons are so fucking pissed at them.
I hope we get more of that, and I do want to read the IDW comics at some point.
Because that was what was interesting to me about this series, is the idea that we might be, we start...
There's a bigger world.
Yeah, we start by following the Autobots who are like, hey, we just want to fight for freedom, and then it's like, hey, yeah, but you can't really blame these people for being how they are because you did maybe have them as slaves for a while.
He might be a genocidal maniac at this point, but Megatron did come from a position of, hey, we're oppressed and I need to lead my people to something better than that.
And potentially went too far, but I want to see more of that explored rather than just Autobots are good and Decepticons are bad.
Well, I think that's why you get so much interesting nuance from the characters.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name names for the sake of spoilers, but there are, characters aligned with the Decepticons at the beginning of the series who are like, the Megatron's going too far.
I think there is the sentiment of I definitely think that the Decepticons were right to have an uprising and to get out of their position, but they've stepped over a line now that they're going into the territory of we're going to commit genocide against the people who were previously in control, and that's how we're going to rectify this.
And then you've got, I mean, I don't want to do spoilers, but
Yeah.
there is that whole other aspect of if this thing happens, it will be catastrophic for the whole world.
Yeah.
And you're just gonna do that, are you?
Yeah, you're just gonna do that, good team.
Allegedly good team. No!
Yeah, that's the thing. There's plenty of room in this narrative for the show to go, hey, it turns out good people, not quite so good, let's delve into that. And I hope that they explore that. I hope that they don't just paint the Autobots as unanimously good.
I don't think they will. From what we've seen so far, I get the impression, like, already that...
Yeah.
Like, there's the fact that there are Autobots questioning various levels of leadership amongst that. We've got the Decepticons going. You know, I'm all up for an uprising and for us to have rights and stuff, but this is too much. Like, that level of nuance makes me want to go, okay, I'm ready for Earthrise. I am ready for Earthrise.
That's the second season that's eventually coming, isn't it?
I believe the second series is Earthrise.
Okay.
The thing is, it's weird that Siege is coming to TV now,
Yeah.
because Siege is the series that, like, stopped being a toy line last year. Like, the reason I have as many Transformers as I do is because they were going cheap because that was the, like, end-of-run stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, get rid of that, Earthrise is coming. So, there's that. Although some of the Earthrise Transformers look really cool, but it's on Earth, so no more of the cool Cybertronian versions. Might have to start Starscream again just to have an F-16. I might have to get another Optimus because he's got a trailer now.
I fully support this.
Yeah, it was really good to see. Very good, well animated, and it's short. They're only 24-minute episodes.
It was a fun, interesting 3 or so hours.
The fact that we got through all of War for Cybertron, Siege, and then we're like, do you want to start on Umbrella Academy Season 2?
Yeah, we had time to get through a season of 2 different things in a weekend. That's always a nice...
We watched them all on the same day.
I think we stayed up late and we finished.
Yeah,
all on
I'm
the
pretty
same
sure
day.
we finished Umbrella Academy as well.
Yeah, should we jump over to Umbrella Academy
Yeah, we
Season 2?
should, yeah.
I really enjoyed Season 2 of the Umbrella Academy.
Same.
For anyone...
Now I want more.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't remember what this is, it's based on a comic series by Gerard Way. It kind of loosely themed on it. The characters have the same powers, have the same names. There's a bit of loosey-goosey with how you get to the various plot beats. Season 2 definitely played a little more hard and loose with the plot.
Mm-hmm.
I think ultimately it was for the benefit of the show. I think that they did the right thing by not trying to force themselves to be too beholden to the source material. I think a lot of the best adaptations give themselves some room to breathe.
Yeah, it's easy to go, it's not what happened in the book though, but some things just don't work on television.
Yeah, and I think they did a good job of this. Like, if I was going to give like a 1-sentence summary of the second book, it would be basically the same as my 1-sentence summary of the TV series, even if you took wildly different routes to get there.
Okay.
But yeah, I liked a lot of what they did with the characters this season. They paired a lot of people with different people to who they were paired with last season. So we got to see different character dynamics play out.
Yeah.
Soundtrack was stunning as ever. Real good soundtrack.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was just a fun, silly end of the world superhero thing again. Once again, there's 10 days until the end of the world. Fuck, how do we stop it this time?
You keep saying that, Klaus. Sad 5.
Yeah, he keeps saying there's only 10 days to save until the world ends.
Again 5 with all this bullshit.
If you want to be sold on season 2 of the Umbrella Academy, watch the opening 3 to 4 minutes. Like season 2, episode 1.
Doesn't fuck about.
Watch until the title crawl happens, because it does not waste any fucking time setting the stakes. And I mean, it really fucking nails, here's what this season's about.
It goes from, I might just check my phone during the credits, there probably won't be any, oh shit,
Yeah,
Oh, shit.
I think they put this 3 to 4 minutes on YouTube as its own video. I
was a
understand why
teaser.
they did it. They were like, hey, fucking watch season 2.
Do you want to know how this all blows up?
Yeah.
Do you want to know how this blows up?
Yeah. I think they did a pretty good job at one thing that I was a bit bracing for when the series started, which is like, this is set in the 1960s and there is a black character during the Civil Rights era.
As soon as she walked into that restaurant, I was like, oh dear.
I think they did a decent job of portraying the realities of that experience and not just fixing the problem of civil rights with magic.
Yeah, I think it would have been very easy for them to go, and they used magic and solved civil rights.
Yeah, actually it was a magic black woman who made civil rights happen. I feel like that could have been very easy.
I mean, if somebody could actually do that and go back in time and make that happen, I think that would be awesome.
Yes, but as a narrative conceit,
As a narrative conceit,
it does the work of a lot of people who work
100%.
very hard.
I'm 100%.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if there happens to be someone out there
Yeah.
who could do that.
So, you know what, there's two things as a person who read the comic that I'm a little disappointed in.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, Hazel and Cha-Cha, who are not really present in season 2 of the show, are present in the book.
How?
I'm
guessing the same thing doesn't happen in the end of season 1.
Yeah, not quite the same thing happens at the end of season 1. They're still about in season 2's version of the universe, and you have them rather than the Swedish men, which I think is like a real shame because Hazel and Cha-Cha are great. And the comic that tells this story, its general beat is the same. Like there's a big looming thing at the end of this season, which is we need to go and involve ourselves in this historical event. And the way it's done in the comic is a really fucking cool use of one of the characters' powers, and it's like the defining example of their power being really fucking cool. And that they just wipe that moment out of the show, and I'm like, it's when I talk about the second comic, that's the line, like the moment I quote at people is a very cool use of rumor powers that just doesn't exist in the show.
Yeah. Also, was the handler constantly dressing as Jackie Kennedy? Because it really felt like it.
Well, I think very much so, and again, I won't dig into spoilers here, but if we want to talk after recording this podcast, there's some interesting stuff in the comic that I think they might have been sort of alluding at.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I thought it was really fun.
Yeah.
Klaus once again was fantastically acted.
Oh, I love Klaus.
Klaus is so great.
Such a wonderful, beautiful disaster.
Yeah, this disaster man dropped in the 60s and he's like, I'm a cult leader, I did not mean to do this, gonna do drugs probably, and I just want to save my boyfriend, oh no.
I cried so hard.
Oh god, yeah, it was fucking heartbreaking. It was a real season of, I've time travelled and I just want to do something good with that, and not being able to do something good with that.
Also, that first or second episode, there was one particular shot where two people were sitting in a doorway, and I was like, I'm getting real Max and Chloe vibes right now.
Yeah. I'm so on board with this Umbrella Academy adaptation. I think it's taken a lot of what worked about the comics, and honestly, I kind of prefer it to the comics. I think there are some cool moments that I wish had carried over, but I think it's a more consistent overall product, which is nice. So yeah. Also, fucking cliffhangers for season 3, huh?
Oh shit.
Yeah,
I really liked Herb.
Oh, Herb.
I like that Herb's response to having the piss taken out of him for being short was literally to just come back with a, fuck you. Basically.
Yeah.
Someone says, I've taken shits bigger than him, and he's like, someone needs fibre.
he takes everything in stride, and he's very good at, he's a delight when he's in scenes.
He's got just these really casual little clapbacks sometimes. And just the fact that he's on the side of good ultimately.
So yeah, Umbrella Academy's great.
Mm-hmm.
What about you? What else have you watched?
I watched a thing called Fear of Depths.
Ooh. Ooh.
It is on the Jacob Geller YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I had never heard of this person, but I shared this on Facebook earlier in the week, and a bunch of people were like, "I've seen this guy's channel. It's really good." It's if you want to think about the buried.
Okay.
So it's about like people being attracted to like caving and potholing and what lies underground and what is underground and how people feel about that. Like it starts there's like a big bit near the beginning talking about a guy who was, I think it was like several hundred feet below the surface, possibly more than 1,000 feet. I could be wrong. Got trapped for like 2 weeks, and they were sending people down, and people were having panic attacks or coming back really shaky, having got about halfway down to bring him food or something, and being like, no, thank you. And just the fact that from that, basically America got this whole potholing / caving like thing, like the park where this guy died that is named after the guy who died there. And then there's like, we've explored hundreds of miles of this huge cave system. I think it is the like largest cave system in the world, or known cave system in the world. And like the person doing the dialogue for it is like, you go down to these places and it really feels like there is something made for you down here. Like, why can a human fit through this space? Just about. Why can humans go this way? Why is a lot of it just about tall enough to walk through? Or squeeze through, or slide through? Why is it just big enough for a person? And then, like, talking about the just absolute pitch darkness of it.
Yeah.
Because normally, like, it doesn't matter how long you spend down there, your eyes are never going to adjust to it.
Yeah.
Talking about how, like, easy it is to get lost. Like, the first is going, at one point, we walked into this cave together with a group of people. We were trying to work out, like, which way to go next. And I absolutely could have sworn that the way we came from was not the way we came from. So it is luckily that I was down there with better cavers, because that's fucked up. And I was sitting there watching the whole thing with the Magnus Archives eye on, going, the buried. Oh, the void.
Yeah. Oh, I'm fascinated by anything that has energy of the buried.
Oh, it is a fantastic little documentary. It's about half an hour long, very manageable. It's pretty spoopy. They draw parallels to not Limbo. What's the other one?
Inside?
Inside with the factory.
Yes.
Like,
They
draw parallels to that, and like how that does like bleakness and not quite being able to know where you are.
I love a good pitch black silent cave. It's good buried energy.
Have you watched anything else?
I think that's about it for me.
Have I watched anything else?
I don't know.
I think that's it.
Well then, time for this.
Hello, we've got a new sponsor.
Who's our new sponsor?
Well, do you have a small amount of money that you haven't immediately spent because you're a poor millennial?
I mean, how small are we talking? Like, I can probably find, like...
A few quid.
Like, £1.50, maybe, if I scrounge around the savings account.
Okay, so if you took that savings, like, just a savings. Just a bit of savings, don't worry about it, like... And who's got saving these days?
It's the only £1.50 I have for a rainy day.
But what if you risked all that?
Wait, my £1.50... Then I wouldn't have money for chicken nuggets.
You wouldn't have enough for a chicken nugget.
I wouldn't have enough for chicken nuggets.
Have you ever considered entering the stock market?
Not really.
I don't mean with a rifle.
I mean, I think it'd be a bad idea for me. I can't get into the risk-reward nature. It's basically gambling, but for rich people.
What if there was an app that could do, like, small stock trading? Just little stock trading as a £1.50 treat. Hear me out, though. Like, you could just do just a little bit of stocks and shares. Because that's what millennials think about, right? Stocks and shares.
I don't want to gamble my chicken nugget money.
put the nuggies on the back burner. What if you could invest in a stock or share where the 3-digit code was NUG? Then you'd put your money in nuggies.
Yeah, but
And you could
we're in
make
a global recession. Surely this is a bad time to risk
best
my
time.
chicken nugget money.
As I understand it, vulture capitalists, I think that's what they call them, they buy when things are really fucked. Do you not want to be someone who profits off the misery of other people's business?
Well, first of all, no, and second of all, you're supposed to do it when it's the most fucked, and I think we've got further to go. It's gonna get more
I was
fucked.
going to get more bucks. Oh. Okay, then, this week's sponsor is Stock Trader XL for all your high-end premium stocks and shares, which is everything that queer millennials need, right?
Sure.
Right. They got
Sure.
a little rainbow on their logo just for us.
Of course they do.
It's the old rainbow. It doesn't have the extra stripes on it. But it is August. And
I mean, they didn't get rid of it as soon as the clock ticked over, I guess.
Might just be because I sent it to us.
Oh, I see.
Using assets, eh? It's an asset flip of an email. Head over there and enter the code QNPS. I can't remember what the number is this week. And yeah,
Don't do it. Don't risk your nugget money.
Save the nuggies. Save the nuggies. You deserve nuggies. Inside the boardroom of Electronic Active Softworks.
Hi. So, I've been thinking.
Yeah.
We got that new games console we've been making coming out at the end of the year, and everyone's clamoring for when's it gonna come out? How much is it gonna cost?
Have the other guys said how much they're?
Oh, they've not said how much it is yet or when it's coming out.
Right.
So you're like, here's the thing. I was thinking of, obviously, you wait, you don't say first, you play that whole game.
Yeah.
I think I've got a better idea than even that.
Right.
So, if these gamers are so desperate to know the release date and the price,
Right.
make them a pre-order bonus. You have to pre-order the console.
Fucking jam.
Exactly, you've got to pre-order the console, and you won't know how much it costs until you pre-order it and see at the end of the month how much it come out of your bank statement.
I am so horny for this.
Exactly,
idea.
we'll tell you the release date, but you got to pre-order it. And you know what makes this even better?
Yeah.
For our competitors, want to find out when we're launching so they can try and undercut us?
They're going to have to buy.
They're going to have to buy at least one of our console to find out, which means, I mean, I think we've won the moral victory if we force them to buy one of our boxes.
100%.
Just to find out what we're doing.
No refunds on pre-orders.
Oh, exactly. And at that point, the gamers are going to be too excited that they managed to get it, one of the limited pre-orders. They're not going to cancel it no matter how expensive we make it.
What if we made it like a tiered pre-order system where, like, you can just have the price. You'll know the price when we release the price.
I see.
And only you group who have paid for it will get it.
You have to sign an NDA that you won't tell anyone else.
Yeah. And then we can make a whole bunch of money just suing the people that,
break the NDA, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, God. Yeah.
So we mess those people up, and then, like, we promise that it'll be, like, another 24 hours, and then we'll till the next tier.
Oh, I see,
So
I see.
you will know, but you will know after them.
Yeah.
Like, so you're not platinum tier, you're gold tier, but still gold tier, right?
Yeah.
And then we just go down all the way through every semi-precious metal, all the way down to, like,
Tin.
coal tier.
Yeah.
You have coal tier, and you get nothing, basically. You get to know. We will send you an email 3 seconds before we announce it, but you will know early.
You are a fucking genius.
I know. So, what's going in your ear needs?
I've been listening to a bunch of My Chemical Romance and Gerard Way and Against Me for work purposes this week. I was writing a thing about some experiences with those bands, and that got me into a mood for, like, just going back and re-listening to those bands a bit.
Punk.
Yeah, so, like, I have a lot of nostalgia tied up in both those bands.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they were, like, the bands that were... They hit it, like, formative years.
Mm-hmm.
I was listening through, like... I always forget until I'm listening to it how much I love Danger Days as an album. It is so, like, upbeat and danceable in a lot of places. It's got really good, just, like, here is rock I can have a real good foot stomp to.
Mm-hmm.
Which is always really nice. I went back and watched some bootlegs of some shows that I'd been to in the past. I know, naughty.
Did you see yourself?
I could see myself a couple of times just like, that's me. I watched a bootleg of the Gerard Way Brixton Academy show from 2015 and the 2016 Camden Electric Ballroom Against Me show. Just because those were very significant shows to me, attending as an adult and being like, oh heck, this is very much a thing that is bringing my childhood to life in a magical way. That Against Me show from 2016, fucking, it is quite an electric feeling to be in a room full of just, like, other trans and non-binary people, like, shouting at the top of their lungs songs about being trans. Woo! Yeah. I just went back through and listened to a bunch of their stuff. Also, I went back and rewatched an old, I think it was about 2007 recording of an Against Me track called The Ocean, from their album New Wave. It's a very specific live recording of it that I have a, like, big, weird, nostalgic memory for watching this specific video upload. This is the song about 5 years before Laura Jane Grace came out as trans, where she very explicitly is like, "Hey, I wish I'd been born a woman. My mother was going to name me Laura. Here's the life I wish I had." And like,
egg.
Yeah. As an at the time egg that wasn't quite ready to hatch, that song real put some cracks in the egg. I was like, my shell. My shell was starting to crack and I was starting to emerge. Aww. Yeah, it's this. I was like, here's the thing. The thing about that recording that I think was so egg breaking is perspective at the time. It's like, I, a mad person, have these feelings that no one seems to have. There's another one. I am not alone. You, a mad person, also have this thing. Not alone. And yeah, that definitely got me rolling down the track of maybe be a woman. Maybe be a woman. Yeah, and now here we are. Ta-da! What about you? What you listened to this week?
Oh, I put some Ben Briggs on because I just fancied a little bit of bouncy Undertale stuff. Yeah. So I listened to one of my favourite tracks, Collecting Junk with Temmie.
Oh, it's a good track.
It's so upbeat. It's a little, like, hip-hop track about Temmie. Yeah. And just collecting junk and all the goods, like, name-dropping all the things. I've played, like, an hour of Undertale. So I have never even got to the Temmie village, but I just love that tune.
It's a good tune.
And, like, all the things that Temmie collects and the fact that Temmie really should be saving for Kuleg, but what if bought all the things?
What if I bought all of your items, every one of them? I can't remember what the one. Oh, dog residue. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you have dog residue and I really gotta try it.
Yeah, no, that is a thing where, like, one of the ways you can make infinite money in that game is to infinitely produce dog residue and then sell it, like, for, like, 2 gold a piece to Temmie over and over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. And then occasionally she'll go, I really gotta buy it, and you can jack up the price to, like, 8 gold. Ooh.
Yeah, you can initially refuse to sell it, and I think you can get away with doing that twice.
Yeah, you can sometimes get away with it twice, and if you refuse anymore, she'll be like, nah, I'm not interested anymore.
Me, who hasn't played the damn game, I know too. It is so culturally, like...
Cultural osmosis.
Yeah. Everybody knows that track. Yes. And the other one was Ben Briggs' remix of Megalovania. Which goes some places.
Yeah, it do.
Yeah. And the 2015 Temcore April Fool's track that Ben Briggs did, which, again, goes some places. It's got the Venga bus in it. Yeah, so lots of bright and shiny, bouncy, upbeat Undertale stuff. Because that game has a really good soundtrack.
It does indeed.
Mm-hmm. What about you?
I listened to a couple of new tracks this week.
New tracks.
I listened to a track called The Bends by a band called Doomtree. There's multiple different vocalists doing different sections on it. The one I've made note of is the first vocalist. Reminds me a lot of Dessa's vocal style. It's this sort of I guess you would describe it as like a hip hop track, but with like little bits of sitar occasionally sort of
Ooh.
plucking underneath it, which gives it this really interesting sound.
I love that sound.
Just like it's very low in the mix, but it's just consistently there underpinning it.
Mhm.
Lots of different vocal styles over one consistent, very bouncy, danceable beat.
Ooh.
Like the vocals change each verse, but like it feels like one consistent track. I also listened to a track called "Be Nice to Me" by the Front Bottoms.
Yay!
Sort of a pop rock track. About two people who really aren't a good fit for each other, but they're trying to make it work.
Mhm.
Interesting sort of like upbeat, dancey rock track. I listened to a track called "Gender Binary Fuck You" by Ryan Casata. It's quite melodic punk about saying fuck you to the gender binary. Stuff like, hey, some days the singer wants to have a beard and a femme pretty voice, and fuck you if you're not gonna stand behind that. That's a great thing.
Mhm.
Also, they mentioned being a bit of a hippie, and I'm like, yeah, go you punky queer hippie. That's good energy.
All the best people.
Yeah, that's a good bit of non-cis punk. I think I've got like one more track. No, I think that's it actually. That's what I've been listening to.
Well then.
Time for this.
You got your own, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not necessarily safe to share them still.
Oh no, I know.
Although, did you know
Yeah.
that there aren't actually any lockdown measures anymore?
No.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I thought there were. Wasn't it like masks and 2 meters and
No. Turns out, all you got to do, is get one of those like card readers.
Yeah.
So you can take like card payments.
Yeah.
If you carry that around with you, you can claim to be a business, and then you can
I
just hang out
see.
with whoever you want. Yeah.
So like, I couldn't meet up with you in, my back garden, to
No.
have a nice time with our own.
No.
But if I had a card reader and, I'll make you pay a £1 charge on the card at the start of the day,
Yeah.
and then, next time I see you, I'll put a £1 on yours.
Yeah.
Now we're
Yeah.
businesses.
That's it. We're businesses. We're each a business,
Yeah.
and we can do
Just
that.
enjoying the business in the outdoor seating.
Absolutely. No need for a mask anymore.
Yeah.
No need for a mask. You just hang the card reader off your ears. And
Can't come round for a cup of coffee in the living room? Don't worry, it's a cafe now.
just beep. There we go.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, got that all on there. And everyone knows that, capitalism helps keep the virus away.
Oh, because, that is one thing we know about that virus is it is sensible. It doesn't want to be around capitalism. It is a smart virus.
Well, you see, it was specifically designed in a lab, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
To be, if you're engaging in capitalism, it will leave you alone. Yeah.
That is the only way to explain all the pubs being open.
Exactly. I reckon it was invented by that Bezos guy.
Yeah.
Just to keep people, there was all the people staying home, buying all the stuff on Amazon.
Yeah.
And now it's keeping all the other businesses open, so people have to go and spend money there. Yeah, see, that's what it is, yeah.
I mean, I'm still going to keep wearing my mask, though.
Yeah,
It just seems a sensible thing to do.
Me too, yeah.
It's one conspiracy I ain't going to act on.
Well, yeah, not gonna take the risk, obviously.
Yeah.
No. Bezos might have like Alexa listening to me and be like, "Get him."
Oh, no.
really disappointing that we're not getting to go to the festival this year.
Oh, I know. So looking forward to it.
Hey kids, how about coming to Living Room Festival?
What's Living Room Festival?
This weekend we've got all the stuff. We've got ball pits, lasers, light shows, and we've got so many top artists. We've got My Chemical Romance, and Limp Bizkit, and Talamasca, and 1200 micrograms, and all of these people. Plus, we've got a comedy tent, so you can check out all the good japes over there. Our toilets are some of the cleanest you'll ever see at a festival. Comfy camping spaces. You can't come to Living Room Festival.
Oh.
You can't, but you could host your own. Because Living Room Festival's happening at my place. I'm going to have a brilliant time.
I'm also going to have a Living Room Festival. That sounds great.
Living Room Festival, it's this weekend.
Wherever you happen to be.
And whenever you happen to be listening.
Question time. It's time for questions.
What's the questions?
Samuel West would like to know, can I have a juice box?
There you go.
Can I have a juice box?
We'll put the straw in the
We'll
top
put the straw
for you.
There you go. Lucy Nevins wants to know, what is the perfect day?
Where would we start?
Get the three of us together, wake you up, not too warm from having all slept together.
Yeah.
And then...
Everyone was well rested and got good sleep, didn't wake up too early. All have
mhm.
nice cooked breakfast.
Yeah, weekend breakfast.
Yeah.
And then, just a nice day of sitting and relaxing and playing.
Have a nice walk in the sun.
Oh, lovely walk. You go, down the woods or something.
Yeah.
Have a lovely walk, come home, have some nice fruity ciders or something. And
Nice
maybe
lie in the
put
hammock
some-
in the sun, maybe.
Maybe a lie in the hammock.
I mean, if it's going to be a perfect day, maybe there's a swimming pool outside in the sun where I can take a little swim.
Maybe some pampering.
Oh, heck.
maybe get some subby pampering. And then maybe a takeaway.
Oh, yeah.
Just like a really nice takeaway, and eat slightly too much.
Yeah.
And then relax with movies, and then an early night wink. And then just fall asleep on each other in a big sweaty sexy mess.
Aww.
Smelling good.
Also wedge into there some dancing around in the living room at some point.
Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
Wiggle, wiggle,
that,
wiggle.
That goes without saying.
Yeah, of course.
Always a little bit of wiggling. Wiggle, wiggle. Yeah, also at some point caramel waffles.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe lunch. Caramel waffles and ice cream
Caramel
for
waffles,
lunch.
yeah. Just hot caramel waffles with ice cream for lunch.
Yeah.
So I'm down with that. Larry Yelling NB asks, what is your favourite way of relaxing and or clearing your minds? Not sure I can say that on a podcast. I'm not
Clearing my mind is a foreign concept to me.
So is relaxing.
Yeah.
No, I don't really do that unassisted.
I will do tasks that are not strictly productive.
Yeah. I will be momentarily distracted from the news, but I wouldn't really call that relaxing. I suppose
Neither of us is great at switching off.
No, I think the closest I get to a relax, and even that has a certain degree of tension in it for most of the thing, is when we do the big walk up to the hill.
Yeah.
We do the long walk along all the back roads.
Yeah.
Because there isn't much of a phone signal.
Yeah.
It's not really safe to be going along with headphones on.
Yeah, it's just enjoy the world around you.
Especially for the last bit, when there's no cars around.
Yeah.
You might see maybe 2 people an hour, usually on bikes. And that's about it.
Yeah. And you get to the top and just collapse a bit.
Collapse for a bit. Get to a position where you can't see all the people behind you. And then just have a relax and a chill, a bit of a picnic maybe.
Yeah.
And probably get a cab home.
Yeah. Legs will be a bit jellified by the time we finish.
Wow, I think they were after last time. Goodness.
Yeah, we did the long version of the walk.
Well, the thing is, I've done the long version of the walk, and it hasn't done that to me. It's just the fact that I've not been doing that kind of walk as often as I used to.
Yeah.
And I think after this year, it's going to be even worse.
I mean, it was a lengthy walk.
Yeah, it's like a 3.5, 4 hour walk.
Yeah.
I think the first time I did it, it took me about 5 hours.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really know where I was going, and I had to double back a couple of times.
Yeah.
Because I'm not great at reading maps.
It was 4 hours of pretty consistent just go walking.
Yeah. Yeah, and it is a really lovely walk. But yeah, my hips were killing me for days after that.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. Like this summer would have been perfect. Like have a bit more time to just go and like do that like a few times.
Wouldn't that have been
and
lovely?
have gone for other nice long walks. Like there is a nice park up the hill from us that I've since we moved here I've been going like we should go and do that walk one weekend, but
Yeah.
it's not really been safe this year.
It's not been super safe this year.
It's not been super safe.
No.
No.
Ah.
Next question. Crimson asks, are there any fashion trends that could be relatively recent or from throughout history that you wish would make a comeback?
Proper unadulterated hippie fashion.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah, if we could just have a resurgence of everyone wearing just comfortable, colourful clothes.
Like the crusty hippies that make all, like with the lumpy knitted stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like clearly you were bollocks when you knitted that, but well done. It clearly looks warm and very cozy.
Yeah.
And then like the fashion hippies with just like bright colours and lots of flowers, or just like painting on their own clothes.
Yeah.
So it's just like everyone's got like cool, unique stuff that someone was just like, oh, I'm a bit messy and I want to do something creative. Can I paint your clothes? Cool.
Yeah. I think generally get a plain piece of clothing and customise it yourself, and this is a thing that you have made and only you own this piece of clothing, should be more of a thing.
Also, I think bell bottoms are cool too.
Oh, bell bottoms are great.
We have a friend that wears bell bottoms a lot.
Yeah, bell bottoms are fab.
They are fab, and I think the other one would be like those the Tudor shorts with like the strappy bit. I don't know what they're called. They're not breeches. The ones with the strappy bits down the side that you wear a codpiece with.
Oh yeah.
I think that whole fashion is hilarious.
Okay, that's what we were bringing back.
That's the 2030s. That's the look for the 2030s. I want to see everyone in like future Tudor clothing.
Tudor hippies.
Tudippies.
So it's sort of like the word tulip. There you go.
Hippies. There we go. Echo asks, what kind of horns would you have if you had the option? Devil, ram, antlers?
I've thought about this because I have characters I've played in D&D who are tieflings, and as such, I've thought a lot about horn designs. I like the horns that come sort of out the front and then sort of like point backwards.
Okay, like Maleficent style horns?
Yeah, slightly Maleficent style horns.
Yeah, not too tall, but sort of just, there is some height there.
Yeah, there's a little bit of height.
They
mainly sort of come out the front and sort of almost like slicked back hair.
Yeah, just like
Yeah.
Hellboy, just like.
Yeah, I think those are pretty cool horns.
Yeah, I like those. Yeah, I do like the demon ones. I'm not so big so keen on the ram horns because they just look like Princess Leia buns. I really like goat horns.
Yeah,
like either the little knobby ones you get on like cartoons.
Yes.
They're just peeking
Little
through.
nubs.
They're little nub ones and they're adorable. Or the twisty ones that are almost like an antelope.
Oh, those are good as well, yeah.
Like, maybe not as tall as that, but the ones you get on goats that do have that sort of twist to them, but mostly go up.
Yeah.
Big fan of goats.
There's lots of good types of horns.
There are lots of good types of horns. I hope you're happy, Echo. Michael asks, do you have theme songs or playlist when you come up with a long-term character?
I don't think I ever have done.
I don't think I ever have done.
I know that, like, it is a thing that happens. Like, when I've, in Dice Funk, when seasons have finished, I know that Cosminion will often make playlists of, here's music that is reminiscent
The
of this
energy of that character.
And I must say, Cosminion fucking nails it every time.
Yeah.
Every time I listen through Cosminion's playlist, I'm like, you nailed my character. You really got them. I never do... I'm seemingly incapable of doing that for myself for characters, but...
I have played less D&D as a player than I have as a DM, so I try not to get too attached to any of my characters.
I mean, the closest I've got to that was Frank Westerly in season 4 of Dice Funk. I just listened to the Yu-Gi-Oh soundtrack every time I wanted to get into their headspace.
Makes sense.
I put on all the cheesiest tracks from the Yu-Gi-Oh soundtrack. And I'm like, we were closer than brothers, but now we have to fight each other.
Yeah, I think there's maybe 2 long-term characters that I could probably sit down and think of a theme tune for. Trash Boy, who is a recurring character.
Yeah.
Sadly, one of the only people that seem to have made it out of season 1.
They survived!
We'll get to the others one day. And Thorson, I guess, who is mostly just this unseen evil. And his theme tune is the polyamory theme tune.
Oh, heck.
It's the theme song from Series 1 was fighting death in human hordes. Thorson tries to kill them all. They escape the vile worn out polyamory store. Hey. More questions!
More questions!
More questions!
Questions from the question gods!
Questions for the question gods! Arachnovolt asks, credit to Tricky for this one. If you could modify an existing comic book character, who would it be and what would you change?
Ooh, if I was going to change a comic book character, I think the one I would change is Captain America. Not because I have any great care for the character, but because I think that there are far more interesting things you could do with them than what's currently being done with them.
What is currently being done with them?
So, most Captain America stories that I'm aware of basically have... Usually Captain America is generic, strong, attractive white man who is the symbol of America and American pride, usually through the lens of loyal to the military and, national pride through a sort of almost militaristic lens. Here's the thing. I think that the way that you update Captain America to make him more interesting is have a Captain America who is from not that background and still have them be like, no, this is equally valid as, the spirit of America. You could have the kind of... You could have a non-white, maybe non-Christian Captain America that a lot of people in America would probably push back against being, the symbol of, the savior of America. And I think that could make for some interesting stories of no, this is, America isn't just Steve Rogers.
No. How about we have a person of colour, Captain America, who's like... Do you remember the American dream about coming here and making something of yourself and experiencing all this thing and being the backbone of America, quote unquote, and the cultural mix of people who have just come together to make if not the country as a whole, certainly communities within that country so much more enriched by here are some people from this part of the world, and this part of the world, and this part of the world, and they are... Now we have a whole new cuisine.
Exactly. I think that Captain America would be a much more interesting character, and maybe there are stories like this that I just am not aware of. That's probably a thing, but...
it's the same with Batman. I just avoid the comic because I just don't think the character's very interesting.
It's the same as Superman. I don't find Captain America usually a very interesting character.
All of these characters are characters very much of their time.
Yeah.
They had a time and place, and that was 1920s America?
Yeah, I would like to see a modernised take on Captain America, because considering the whole point of the character is I am America's hero personified, it'd be really nice to see them, something more diverse done with them.
Yeah, exactly.
To reflect America.
An actual hero.
Yeah.
Maybe dealing with the fascism that currently exists in America.
Yeah.
And, making America all the better by, say, dealing with racism.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't necessarily think that should be a white person's story.
Indeed.
Sorry, more questions.
Yeah, you put the questions away.
I got put the questions away because I was really getting into that one. I'm not sure I answered.
Do you have an answer?
A character I would change.
Squirrel Girl and the changes that they're in more comics.
Yeah, she should definitely be in more comics. Big fan of Squirrel Girl. I'm trying to think about the comics I really, really enjoy and the characters within them, and generally the problem isn't an individual character with any of those things. It's more story elements or decisions made by the artist or writer.
Yeah.
Why aren't there more people of colour in Tank Girl?
Yeah. That's fair. Fair point. Do we have any other questions?
We do. Tricky asks, modify the previous question, as in different universe heroes you'd like to see with Spider-Man. So there's a larger context as well. Trailer Park Hulk, Noir Spider-Man, Samurai Batman, etc.
Okay. We're putting them in the Spider-Man universe. Is that what we're doing?
As I understand it.
Okay. I would love to see Shuri from Black Panther crossed over with Spider-Man in the.
She's a badass.
Yeah, badass. Good with tech and tech-based weaponry.
Oh yeah, they get on really well.
Yeah, I think two like teenage to young adult, real tech-obsessed nerd superhero types. I think they'd make a really fun duo.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see them go on some adventures together.
Yeah, definitely. It's less I'd like to see them go into Spider-Man's universe, but I wouldn't mind seeing Spider-Man dealing with the Silent Hill comics.
Oh,
imagine that.
that would be quite intense.
That would be quite intense. Like, how would Spider-Man deal with survival horror? I want to see it now. Lucy asks, if you were going to build a bear and could make any plush you want, what would it be?
How about a little bunny rabbit plush, but it's dressed in sort of like punk gear.
Aww,
Little punk bunny.
a punky rabbit.
A punky rabbit.
I would like a different version of Mixed Goldie Flops.
Yeah?
With, like, not as a backpack,
Yeah.
but still with all the piercings and
Oh.
rave bracelets and all the other things they've acquired over the years.
That's lovely.
Yeah, I want my existing one.
Yeah.
Omega the Sane says, same question but misinterpret the word bear.
Big beard, good strong hugging arms.
Red plaid. Gotta have the red plaid
Gotta have
shirt.
the red plaid, some denim jeans, some like stompy, outdoorsman boots.
Big stumpy outdoors type boots. But not like one of those crappy brands.
Yeah. But also pair this with just like long hair.
Long hair and like
Just hippie hair.
Just a bit of a goatee.
Yeah.
Not the full beard,
Yeah.
but long enough that it didn't do the scratchy thing.
There you go. There's the bear.
That's the bear that we've invented. It's a snack you share with a bear. Nice. Gelladry asks, what's the ideal tabletop role-playing campaign length to you? Would you consider having the same character experiencing a saga of campaigns, taking them through their life story if you could?
I find that, for me at least, there is a limit to how far my characters tend to want to develop. There is usually, here is starting flaws, here is end addressing those points and they go on an arc, and beyond that, I want a narrative arc for a character to feel like okay, I'm satisfied with where that character's ended, for better or worse. I've been really happy with the length that like a lot of the Dice Funk seasons have been, which is in the sort of like 30 to 40 episode range, like of hour to 2 hour sessions. So like probably like maybe 80 or so hours of playing with a character is usually enough time for me to take them on a good arc and be like, I feel like I'm done with you. I'm ready to move to something else.
I honestly don't know how to answer this question because I have only rolled one proper RPG character.
Yeah.
That I really cared about and wasn't just for a one shot on something.
Yeah.
And I have managed to play her 2 or 3 sessions with you and the nerds, and 1 session on the Goblin's Feet.
Yeah, so like 4 sessions.
Like I've played 4 sessions with one character. She's not done much in the way of leveling up.
Yeah.
She's not really had any chance to really flesh anything out. So I couldn't say. I like the idea of like being able to play D&D to a point of like just experiencing more of what high level D&D has to offer.
Yeah.
Because like I was looking through the monster manual for the one shot that we're doing. Just like there's stuff in here that I don't think I will ever get a character to see. Like certain types of dragons, Tarrasques, things like this. It's just like they are so overpowered.
Here's the thing, like the group that like when I DM and you play, we don't get to play terribly often because it's getting a group of people in the same physical location, and particularly this year that's a fucking nightmare. But like, I deliberately got everyone to start at, like, level 1 or very low levels for that campaign, because for a lot of people at the table, it was their first time playing, and I didn't want them to be overwhelmed by the amount of things that they could do.
Yes.
But, like, if I were to start a new campaign with that group of people and with you playing again, I would probably go like, look, let's start everyone's characters at like level 9. Be like, hey, look, let's start you at a point where you have quite a lot of stuff you can do, so that you can play a bit more around with having like lots of options. Which is like not a thing that you necessarily want to give to players on their first time playing, but it's quite nice to drop players into a character who has lots of utility from the start.
Also, I feel like the nerds are a group where you wouldn't get anyone going, I'm going to min-max the fuck out of my character.
Yeah, exactly.
So I take 20 turns and no one else gets to do anything.
Yeah. But that's the thing. I hope that at some point in the future we can wrap up everyone's individual stories with that campaign and go like, let's start something fresh with new characters and start at like, maybe level 6 or 7 or something. With a bit more starting stuff.
Yeah, I mean, how far have we got you up to on Polyarmory now? You're 6 or 7?
8, I
Wow.
believe. Yeah, I think we just hit level 8 because it's an ability score improvement level.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm starting to get to see what characters can be like.
Yeah.
I'm starting to find that the things I think are going to be kind of challenging aren't as challenging as I thought they were going to be.
That's the thing. The more levels your players have on their characters, the more that they can just like sidestep things you'd set up for them. Because they have so many tools in their arsenal.
Well, I mean, not just that. Like, I spent so much time at the beginning of Polyarmory going, don't kill them. Don't kill them. It's a podcast. Don't kill them. And it's starting to feel now like I'm going to have to be a little bit more harsh with you because
that's fair.
You're getting through things, even though I'm sitting there using the encounter calculator, going, they can manage one character of level 5, and then I accidentally put you up against something of level 8, and you crushed it.
Yeah. Going back to the question a bit, though, like, the idea of playing a character lots and lots over time, over many years, I don't think I could do that with one character, like, back to back to back. And I don't know...
was like a weekly session...
Yeah. And I'll say this, I don't know how much of that is to do with the fact that I largely do D&D in podcast form, and there is, like, the weight of audience expectations that after 9 months with a character, I'm usually pretty fucking mentally and emotionally exhausted and I'm ready to leave them behind forever. But, like, if I think back to, say, like, Season 3 on Dice Funk playing Veltari, I'm like, I've had long enough now. I could see myself, going and playing another Veltari campaign set, like, after that last one. I could take them on a new adventure. I've been gone long enough that I'm starting to feel nostalgic for like, oh yeah, it'd be fun to go on adventures as them again.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing with and it was the story of their life, it would also have to be the story of the rest of the party.
Yeah.
And I just don't feel like my character is the kind of person that spends a lot of time with one party.
Yeah, that's part of it, is like, there is a limit to how much your characters can develop if they always have to be beholden forever to be part of this one group. And, like, I think a lot of my favourite, like, Dice Funk campaigns that have ended have been, like, and all the characters had very vastly different things that they went off and did at the end of this narrative, because, we were all building them as their own people, not as the party.
Like, don't get me wrong, they will probably still be friends with other characters, but people grow and people move on and have different lives, and... they talk about, hey, we should get together for a drink in a tavern sometime. We'll meet in a tavern.
That's the thing. I could see, like, hey, let's get the gang back together for another adventure.
Yeah.
But not necessarily, well, that adventure finished, off to the next one.
Yeah.
That's just not my style. I like to be able to put a neat box on a character and go, and that's your story.
I think the longest running character I've ever had would be Trees.
Yeah.
I used to have a lot of fun with Trees. I hope that we get back to that universe.
Yeah.
As soon as I stop hogging all the time with Polyarmory.
Well, like, they're getting there with Polyarmory.
I am really starting to feel like this could be maybe end up being like a Dice Funk length season.
Are you going to do a 38 episode season?
We've recorded, 25? So
yeah.
far? Like, and I don't know how much more story there necessarily has to be.
Yeah, there's each character maybe has like one let's do your loyalty mission.
Maybe.
And then go final encounter maybe.
Maybe.
Heck.
Maybe, who knows?
We'll see.
Unless I think of something in the
and then we go off on a massive tangent.
Well,
I mean, we could take forever. We could just go explore stuff that you weren't expecting.
You could, but you would come home to find everything had been destroyed by Thornton.
A little bit.
There is that, like, time limit set there, so that's going to be a thing. Alice asks, would you adopt a spider cat? 100%. That would be adorable.
I mean, probably.
Extra little leggies.
I mean, as
Can
long
you
as...
imagine if Spider Cat just did loafing? It's like, where did you hide all those leggies?
There's a certain... If there's a slider between spider and cat, it would have to be far enough along the cat end of the slider. Like,
Oh, I'm imagining like a rounder body, but all furry, all like cat furry, all soft and bouncy and playful like a cat, but just having of 8 legs and a slightly rounder.
I
Like
would
thorax?
I would have to see it to sign off on it. Theoretically, yes, but I need to see it and make sure I'm not getting huge Uncanny Valley vibes before I commit.
Although, imagine getting turned around on it. It's sitting in your tummy, doing like a full 360 spin, and then back again, without really having to like turn its body at all, because it can just like move one leg round, like a record, and then back again, and then maybe treadling you with 8 paws. Oh, I want a spider kitty. That's adorable. Becky too. Hi, Becky. What's your dream dessert? Assume you have an amazing chef at your disposal and don't have to wash up.
Chocolate fudge, like really nice hot chocolate fudge brownie
Mhm.
with some like real rich chocolate sauce.
Mhm.
Some really lovely ice cream. Let's say it's maybe like a nice honeycomb ice cream or something. Served alongside a big waffle with like maple syrup and then sprinkled with lots of cinnamon.
I'm horny for that dessert.
That's a good dessert,
That's
right?
a good dessert. Oh, see, I was still thinking back to those caramel waffles. Maybe add a bit of cinnamon and like a really fancy vegan, like really vanilla, like vanilla bean vanilla.
Yeah.
With, like you can see all the little vanilla bits in it.
Yeah.
Like not too sweet caramel either, so it's not sickly.
Yeah.
But and like a really like fluffy on the inside, ever so slightly crispy around the edges waffle.
Yeah.
But sure, chuck a brownie on it. Sure. I mean, I'm always up for chucking a brownie on it. Omegon the Sane asks, the spacebar fell off my mobile keyboard, how shall I address it?
Copy a space from a sentence on a website and Control V every time you need to hit the space bar.
Solved.
The way that many editors I know deal with the E with the accent above it in Pokemon is every time they have to write Pokemon, they just copy that E from somewhere and then paste it.
That's just Alt-GR and E.
Yes, it is, but...
I mean, not on an iPhone. But...
See, I know this. Yeah, on an iPhone you hold down the E and it kind of brings it up, but a lot of people don't know about the Alt-GR E to get that E.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, paste in a space.
Paste the space. Hashtag paste space. Well then, that is all of the questions.
Well then, time for this.
Time to bed by the sounds of it. Do
Mhm.
you know what I want to see more of?
What do you want to see more of?
Social justice warriors.
Social Justice Warriors.
Yeah. Alright, Larry.
Alright, Barry, how you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. I am feeling sort of... I'm committed to it at this point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 You're in for the long haul.
Yeah, I was in the long haul at the beginning. I had a few wobbly weeks in the middle, and now I think we've returned to my...
You come through the other side. This is normal now.
Yeah, this is, in fact, the new normal. I
Yeah.
don't have to like it, but I'm still locked down, so...
Yeah, same here, same here. So I've been thinking.
Yeah?
I've been thinking this week. I've been taking some of the time that I've had. You know, it's all been quiet during
Yeah,
all this. I've been taking some time to brush up on my British Sign Language, my BSL.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while since I've done my practices, but I've been brushing up on the alphabet again, because
Yeah.
you never beat a bit of finger spelling to save you in a dodgy situation.
Well, indeed, you know, if nothing else, you learn the finger spelling, and it might take a little bit longer, but you can perhaps have a conversation with someone.
Exactly, you know, basic conversational signs and stuff like that. It got me thinking about how it's a real shame that we don't just, as a default, teach sign language as a primary language.
Yeah, absolutely. Like elementary school, primary school. I think it should be something you learn along with your native language of your country.
Exactly, because here's the thing. Sign language is kind of unique in that you can, if you start learning it from a young enough age, when you're still, forming your language skills, you can learn signs as you learn words.
Yeah.
And do the sign as you're saying the word, and get to a point where the two just interchangeably happen, where you can have a conversation while doing all the signs for that conversation as you go.
And it becomes second nature, which means, you could always potentially be having conversations that include, include deaf people.
Exactly. Like the idea of a world where we teach BSL from a young enough age that,
well, not just BSL, but whatever your local.
Well,
sign
exactly.
language.
I say BSL here as someone in the UK, but your local sign language.
Yeah.
It'd be really wonderful to just, as a default, everyone just signs along as they talk. Would be a wonderful thing to see.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah, it's a real shame that we have a language that is native to this country that is so rarely used by people who don't absolutely need to use it.
Yeah, and it's a shame, and I imagine that makes being deaf very much more isolating than it needs to be.
Indeed.
I've had times in my life where, for various reasons, I have gone almost completely deaf.
Yeah.
And it's very isolating, not just because of the lack of conversation, but just that whole shut-off sense. So to lose the ability to communicate with people as well, or even to just, enjoy being around people talking. It's it's a whole extra thing to be isolated from.
Plus, it's super, even on top of, being able to communicate with deaf people in the community, there are so many other, useful practical applications it comes up in, Well, have you ever
Noisy
been
environment?
Exactly. You ever been at a rock gig or a night out partying, and you're trying to shout to your friend and you can't quite hear them over the music? Just sign at them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. Good if you're having a day where you're just I'm a bit non-verbal right now. I can't do words.
Well, when it's a really weird thing when my anxiety is acting up. I do sometimes find that I start to stutter and can eventually just go non-verbal, and it is very frustrating. But I have weirdly found that I can sign.
Yeah.
In that
Or,
situation.
write stuff down sometimes. It's somehow different to using verbal language.
Yeah, I don't know exactly, what the psychology or science is behind that, but it is a whole thing of not having to feel like I've reached just a complete inability to communicate with people, to just have just a little bit of sign language to be able to sort of convey what happens.
I would be very on board for teach basic sign language from primary school upwards, and have just all lessons just get to the point as a society where just everything is signed along with as you go.
Yeah, and the other thing is I would like to see sign language lessons be free.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, looking at going to a proper sign language class or getting any kind of qualification, the costs for that are astronomical.
Plus, you have to go to physical locations which are a bit spread out. Make it more accessible to do, maybe Skype into a sign language lesson.
Yeah, and it is prohibitively expensive at the moment.
Yeah.
To do it. And, because I was looking, I've taken, cheaper courses and stuff in the past.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, how can I follow on from that? And then, looking at what a level 2 or 3 would be.
Yeah.
And to go and do professional courses like that, they're upwards of £1,000, and that's pretty much the same as doing any kind of college course.
Exactly.
It's I cannot afford that.
That's the thing. It would help if it was less all or nothing. So it's I can afford 20, 30 quid to get started. Oh no, I've hit a brick wall. I cannot afford to keep learning.
And the end of level 3 is you've done numbers, you've done family members, you've learnt to fingerspell, you've got a little bit of conversational stuff, and then it's okay, that's where we're leaving you now. £1,000 for what I don't know how many levels there are total.
Yeah.
But to go, if you want to go beyond that, and I haven't even felt with the levels that I've done that I've got that conversational.
Yeah.
And the only way to then follow it up is just look up online language resources.
Exactly. Which I've been trying to do. I've been trying to practice little bits daily. Watch
there's some good ones out there.
Yeah.
Virtual luck, man.
Virtual luck.
God, it was like so long since we had a real one of these.
Once again, that first hug back is going to be glorious.
Absolutely, mate.
Ugh.
Yeah. Right, I think I'm going to put the kettle on.
As will I think.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, Laura, where
Yes.
can we find you on the internet, darling?
Laura K. Buzz at all the places. Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Patreon, that's the one that pays the bills. I stream Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays at twitch.tv/Laura K. Buzz from 10pm UK, 5pm Eastern, 2pm Pacific. LauraKBuzz.com. Everything I post ends up there eventually. I've got books. There's Uncomfortable Labels, which is about being gay and trans and on the autism spectrum, and it's out now where books are sold, or as an audiobook on LauraKBuzzStore.com. There's Things I Learned from Mario's Butt, which has finally gone to the printer.
Whoop, whoop.
After, coming up on 2 years of trying to make this book happen, it is finally going to the printers. Woo. Starting to show up on some of the book websites as well, you can pre-order it on Waterstones, I believe.
Nice.
Heck. There's also Gender Euphoria, which is an anthology of stories about just positive, happy, euphoric moments that have come out of being a non-cis person. And that is hopefully going to be out by next summer. I've written all my words for it. I'm mainly just editing other people's words. There's another person's words on one of my screens right now.
There's a whole other person.
There's a whole other person who's written a story, and it's right over there. I'm also on podcasts. Pixel Squirt, it's about video game character pornography. Our episode about just men banging men is back up. It went back up. We managed to convince Pornhub that Iron Bull from Dragon Age does not constitute sex with an animal. So that was a fun fight. I'm also on Podquisition, where we tell you whether your favourite video games are great or perfect. And Dice Funk, which is a Dungeons & Dragons podcast. I'm on seasons 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. They're all self-contained stories. I'm also on a D&D podcast with you.
A D&D podcast that I am also on.
Yeah.
Like, that would be the polyamory that we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, tell us about that and the other things you do.
It's a 5th edition real play podcast, and we have questionable morals. It's mostly set in the Underdark for now. A new episode of that went up last Saturday. They are fortnightly. And we are soon to get to some stuff that I am real freaking proud of. Because, we did season 1, and that was my first attempt at dungeon mastering, and I wasn't great at it. But I did okay. I created an interesting world, even if I didn't create necessarily the best of everything else. And then I had some time off, and I got a bit better at D&D, and I played some more D&D, and I DM'd some entirely separate games. And we came back and did this series, and I still wasn't great right at the beginning. But, as we get on, I think we've got a pretty solid world going on now with some pretty interesting characters. And, I'm really pleased with it, and I'm really hyped for people to get up to pretty much where we are now.
Yeah, the many, 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 many months ahead of ourselves that we are.
Episode 9 just went up. We've recorded 25 episodes so far, so you've got a while ahead to look forward to. Don't worry, there's plenty. Don't worry about getting into this series. There is going to be plenty to hear.
Yeah.
And one-shots. We've got some people coming on to do a one-shot.
Yeah.
We'll be going up sooner than, 6 months.
Oh, it's not going to be 8 months from now.
No, don't worry. Don't you worry about that. What else? I have t-shirts on my Redbubble store. I have my own Patreon, patreon.com/stonedmonkeyradio. You can, for as little as $1 a month, help me justify a 70-ish hour work week. Although I have stopped streaming on Tuesday nights. I still stream on Thursdays, but my mental health has recovered so much more after stopping streaming on Tuesdays.
It's quite a lot to try and finish this show and then wedge in a stream and then get to bed.
Yeah. Especially since Tuesday is the night that is most disrupted sleep-wise because you're up recording Dice Funk.
Yeah.
And then there's just... It's a lot.
Tuesdays are the day.
Since I have spent that evening either just having an early night or getting on with some music stuff, my mental health has definitely improved.
I'm glad.
I'm definitely feeling better about stuff and more enthusiastic about my Thursday streams.
Yay!
I think that's most of the important stuff. Streamerlinks.com/Janiac. That's JANEIAC. And you can find all of my links to all of my things. It's real simple. I've got a Twitter, I've got a YouTube, it's all on there. Just go and look at that.
Yeah.
Laura, darling,
Yeah.
will you sing us out?
Until next time, be a stranger.